Alright, my good YouTube friends. Today we're going to be working on my e46 330 Ci. So, this car is a coupe, hence the Ci. So, not an M3, but it's pretty fun. But, if you know and you own one of these cars, there's certain issues that come with this car. Such as the saggy headliner that we all know and love, this rear speaker tray becoming purple and faded, and even the squeaky trunk. Now, if your car doesn't have those, then it's not a real E46. But mine is, because it has all of those issues. But today, we're gonna be fixing 2 of those issues. And I'm gonna show you how to do it. So, I went ahead and went to my local craft store, which sells fabric by the yard, and I picked some of this up. This is some nice Alcantara looking fabric that was pretty cheap, actually. So I got 5.5 yards of this stuff for $45, which is plenty for this car. So I'm gonna go ahead, show you guys how to take the headliner out, how to redo it, and the finished product. So, some of the tools you're gonna need for this job. Alrighty, so this job is pretty easy. All you're gonna need is the fabric of your choice, a scraper for scraping all the foam off the old roof. So, you don't need a drill, but I have a drill just to make everything easier because there's a ton of screws holding all the trim pieces in. So you can use just a normal Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead for prying stuff off, and wire brushes for scraping all that foam off. And then this is what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use this 3M multi-surface spray adhesive, which is good for paper, cardboard, plastic, fabric, leather, insulation, and all that stuff. So I'm gonna use that. I think I'm gonna need to go get more cans of that because I'm almost empty. So that's all you're gonna need for this job. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so once you're in the car, you're gonna need to remove these things. So here there's 2 Phillips head, and if you pop the sun visor out, there's 2 under those caps. Same goes for that side. And under here, you pop this cap off, pop that cap off, and there's 2 Phillips heads. And then under here, I think there's another screw. And then do that side the same way, and I'll move on to the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and do those, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, so when taking the sun visor out, you wanna be a little bit careful because there is this clip and you don't wanna damage that. So just don't let it drop off and rip this out of here. So just gently pry that clip off. There's just like a nub here, you can just pry it off. So be mindful of that. Alrighty, so we got this side all done. Got that light out, got this out. Now we're gonna move on to this side. So in order to take this out, what you want to do is you pry like right here, because this is like interlocked. So you want to pry like right in the middle to try and get that out. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You want to pry right here because they're interlocked like that, and then pry these pieces out, and that should come right out. So if you have this option, which is that speaker for when you're talking, you're gonna want to take out that clip, and the clip that holds this light in. So I'm gonna go ahead and take those out. Alrighty, so to get to these, you have to pry this off like that. You pop it off, and then you undo the screws, and it'll come right out. Alrighty, so we got all this stuff out. Now, the last thing you have to do is take out this liner right here. So this you can just grab and get your finger under here and pull it out all the way around. Shut that, and then you just pull all of it out, and it comes right out like that. So that's it for the front. Now we move on to the back. Alrighty, so the back is a little bit harder than the front, because so you have these clips, you gotta open it, and there's a Phillips, and then mine has a Phillips because the clips broke. But basically you have to pop this panel out just a little bit, so you can slide this up and out. So you can do that. And you also have to, it's a pain, but I think you gotta undo this in order to be able to wrap this. So we're gonna go ahead and take these out. And you do have to take these out, which is just a couple clips. And then there's this T25, which mine broke off. So just be mindful of that. It's under there's a reading light back here that connects to this. You gotta pop the reading light out to get to this. So be mindful of that. But this needs to come out. And so does that one. Mine are already out because I got tint on this car. And you need to pop this out. This one's just a couple clips. You just pull down like this. And it should pop out. Like that. No clips were broken in that process, so that's good. But you take that out. And then this whole thing will come out. But we got to take all these other pieces off first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll be back. So once you pop this panel out, there should be 2 press clips in there. Just take your flathead, pop those out. This thing will slide down and out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so once you undo those clips and slide it out from the bottom, this whole thing will come out. And I recommend when you're wrapping this one, what you do is under here, there's an Allen key bolt in there. So you wanna take that out, pop the seatbelt off, so you can just take this piece off and wrap it outside of the car, because if not, it's a pain. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for the other side, and I'll show you how to get this headliner out. Alrighty, so I got this side out. Everything's all undone. Now, what you're gonna wanna do to get this headliner out is slide it backwards. So it'll slide, there's like these hooks back here. You're gonna slide it backwards off those. And I think the front has some too, but let me check to make sure. So the front doesn't have any clips, you can just grab it and pull it down right here. Make sure you don't bend it anywhere and break it. So I would grab from here. If you have this, then go ahead and take it out. But I don't have it, so I don't know how to take it out. So that's for you guys to figure out. But you just grab it right here, wiggle it backwards, and it should pop out. I think I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, so I'll be right back. Alrighty, so in order to get this out, you're gonna wanna lean your seats all the way back, like almost touching, so that you can slide it out this way. Alrighty, so once you get it to fall down like this, you wanna grab it and like kind of turn it so you can pull it out the door. You could do it either that side or this side. I'm gonna do it this side because I don't have the steering wheel to block me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so this is what your headliner should look like out of the car. It's a little bit different if you have a coupe versus a sedan, but it applies basically the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of my trim pieces out. Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm kind of laying here. But in order to get this out without having to take this whole sunroof assembly out, basically there's these 2 little things on this side, the passenger side, that kind of, they sit in this track to help you. And then on that side there's plastic tabs. I went from this side because these are metal and harder to break, and you can always bend them back into shape if you need. So you stick a flat, I stuck a flathead right here and I pried it out, and they popped, these front ones popped out pretty easily. Those were kind of a pain, but you choose to do it however you want. That's how I did it, and it came out nicely, and I didn't break any of those clips over there. So let's go ahead and get this stuff wrapped. Alrighty, so I got most pieces out. I got everything out. Now all I need to do is take that tray out and these pieces. So I'm gonna do all that stuff. I'll show you that stuff first, and then these, and then that's gonna be last if I have any leftover fabric. So in order to get these off, you have to pop these very brittle covers off. Hope they don't break. And then you just, there's a couple Torx 20s, I think. You take those out and it should come out. Alrighty, so we got all our pieces out of the car and laid out. I'm not gonna do the sun visors because they already look pretty good, so I'm just gonna leave them. And let's get to it. So what you're gonna wanna do is, you can see I already started on that one, is you're gonna wanna like grab a corner that's already peeling and just peel it all off. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel all the stuff off of these and be right back. So these, I think, were redone or I don't know, someone did something with these, but this fabric doesn't peel off. So I'm gonna wrap over that fabric. I'm gonna like try to sand it down maybe and just wrap over it, but we'll see how that goes. So we'll save those for last. Alrighty, so once you finish scraping all your foam off, which took me the better part of the day, because as you can see, it's no longer super sunny anymore. So what you're gonna wanna do is grab your spray adhesive and then realize that you definitely don't have enough to do all that, because this can is like a fourth of the way full because you used it already trying to redo that old one and it didn't work. So now you're gonna go to the store, pick up some more of this. Alrighty guys, we're back. We got a fabric here and we got this stuff. So this is max strength contact adhesive, and I picked this one instead of the one that I already had over there because this one's much stronger and it is heat and moisture resistant. So it's gonna, sitting in a black car all day, it's gonna be less likely to come undone than that one. So I went and got 3 cans of this. You're probably only gonna need about 2, but I bought 3 just in case. So we're gonna go ahead. Alrighty guys, so I went ahead, got my table out, because for this next step is you're not really gonna wanna do this on the floor because you could get your material all dirty. So what you're gonna wanna do is take your material and lay it out over, leaving a couple inches extra. So I have about that much extra on the end, so you can tuck it over. You can always cut off the excess, but you can't add on. So, and I have, this is about 60 inches from that side to this side of cloth. So that's plenty for this roof in case you're gonna go and buy your own fabric. But make sure you get something that's a little bit, so this stuff is a little bit stretchy. You probably can't tell, but it's a little bit stretchy because you're gonna wanna stretchy material so it can fit to the grooves and stuff. And I would recommend wearing gloves when you do this, so you don't like scratch your fabric or anything, or so that your hands can glide over it easily. But yeah, so you're gonna measure it out, and then I have a bunch of excess, so I'm gonna cut a little bit off, and then we'll have our big piece, and then we'll start laying it down. And then at the very end, we're gonna cut all our holes, so that way we know that we have enough material. I'm gonna go ahead and do. Alrighty guys, we got our fabric laid out and cut. Now what you're gonna wanna do is take the fabric, fold it over, in half. All right, so now once you got it folded over about halfway right here, make sure that's all nice and folded. So once you got it here, you're gonna take your spray adhesive, and you're gonna spray it all over this piece, and then you're gonna spray it on there. You wanna make sure you get adhesive on here and the fabric, so you get maximum adhesion so that it doesn't fall off. You gotta make sure your surface is all nice and clean. Make sure there's nothing on there, no dust, no debris. And at the very end, we'll go back and cut the holes and everything. But for now, you wanna make sure, and you wanna make sure you get glue really good in all these crevices so that it sticks really nice all up in here. And you don't have it peeling in like these corners and stuff. Make sure this is all clean. I would take like a brush and dust it off, which is what I'm gonna do right now. And then spray it on and I'll show you. So once you got it all nice and sprayed, I kind of went a little bit overboard, but you want to make sure it's tacky before you start laying it down. So I'm gonna wait a little bit and then we'll check. Alrighty, so to check it, you want to take like a knuckle and see that it doesn't. Alrighty guys, so I already finished tacking this down. You want to wait a little bit for it to dry, and you want to make sure like around these edges, that it doesn't lift up around here or in these corners, because that can be a pain. So you want to make sure you're pressing into these corners and making sure you get all the crevices. But that's how the front looks. And we can always see how like right here it's not really sticking into that crevice as it is over here. We can always go back before we cut this out, glue that down around the edges, and then fold it back over. And same goes with the sunroof. So like over here, you can see there's kind of like a little spot that isn't in the corner right there. You can always go back and fix that. But for now, we're gonna go and do the back half, which should be a little bit easier because there's not as many curves and stuff as the front. So we're gonna go ahead and get it all ready. And I'll come back and show you guys the kind of finished product before we put the edges down, and I'll show you guys how to do that too. Alrighty, so what I found works best if you're by yourself, or if you can get 2 people, that would be amazing. But for me, when I was doing this, since it was a lot, I kind of had to go back and forth between, and it was kind of like really hard to move it after that. So what I do is I found that it's better to work in small sections. So for this, I did probably from here, I did from the sunroof to here. So it's a smaller section and it's a lot flatter, so it's easier to work with. And for here, I'm probably gonna just do that much, probably like 3 or 4 inches, so that it's a lot easier to work with and do by yourself, rather than trying to do all this and go back and forth. So that's my tip for you. All right, so alrighty guys, so I got it all finished and laid down in the crevice. It's all nice and it's sticking. So this adhesive works really nice. I recommend going with that one over the red one I had, because this one's much stronger. It sticks much better and it resists the heat a lot better. And I also recommend using a headlamp, which is what I'm using. So I'm using just this one. And what it does is, so when you turn it on, it helps you see like in the crevices, like right here, if it's not sticking, it'll light it up for you, so you can see it a little bit better. And you can make sure you get that out. But yeah, so I'm gonna wait for this section that I just glued to dry, and then we're gonna flip it over. I'm gonna show you guys how to glue the edges, and then we're gonna cut out all the pieces. All right, so I decided I'm not gonna trim the edges and cut it out just yet, because I'm getting tired and it's really late, much later than I thought it was. So we're gonna wait for this to dry overnight, and we're gonna come back tomorrow. We'll do all those little edges, clean it up, make it look nice, and then we'll do our other trim pieces down here, and we'll get it back in the car, and we'll do the tray, the speaker tray. I'll show you guys how to take that out and how to wrap that one. But I'm gonna finish for today, leave it like this, wait for it to dry. I'll be back tomorrow to finish this up. Alrighty guys, we're back. It's the next day, sunny out. So I kind of already started, but I'm gonna show you how to fold it over so it doesn't peel back. So what you're gonna wanna do is, so like I had a bunch of excess cloth right here. I'll show you the piece. I had all this hanging off the end. So you want to take that and you want to leave just enough so that it'll cover this edge without like leaving anything all messed up or anything. See how it overlaps this foam? You can always go back and cut this off, but you don't want to cut too short where it doesn't grab the edge. And so you're gonna cut probably about an inch, inch and a half, and just cut all the way straight along this. And so then you want to take your glue, spray a thick coat down, wait for it to get tacky, and then you take this and you stretch it and peel it and like make sure it sticks here. You do it all the way down. And then for the corners, what you want to do is kind of like this. You fold them here, and then you can always fold this down right here like this with some glue or something, or you can cut it right down the middle and fold the one over and then fold the other one. But that's how I do it. I'm just gonna fold it down. And then here you can always cut with like an X-Acto knife. You can always cut this out. Same goes for this side. You can always cut that out. Make sure this sticks first so that you have enough material to be able to do that. So that's how you do that. And then for these, it's basically the same. You just fold it over like this and watch the corner. You fold it like that. But that's how you do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this side. And then once I finish with the edges, so I'm gonna do this edge, that edge. I'll show you guys how to cut these out. So this is for your alarm sensor. This is the sunroof, and that's the sunroof motor cover controls and stuff. And then these two and these, all these little holes need to be cut out. So I'll show you guys how to do that in the next clip. Also, this is kind of a pain, but we'll figure that out. Alrighty, so I got the back, this weird section cut out and done. So basically what I did is I kind of traced the outline, leaving a lot, like that much fabric, yeah, like that much left over hanging out. So I traced it along kind of roughly the shape. And then I got some glue and I folded it over. And then, so at these corners right here, I just cut a slit, like right where there's a corner right here where it's got a lot of stress. And you do it for here, here, and I did one here too, just to make sure it's over. And then the middle's pretty straightforward. This one, I just left these corners like this. So there's not enough material to really fold it over, but it's not gonna come undone. So you could just leave it like that. But that's how I did that. So if you have pieces like that, then you can do it like that. And then I just kind of folded this excess over under here, and I tucked it under there because that it grabs on, so it'll keep it on. And then over here we did the same. It's gonna look a little bit kind of wonky in corners like this, but that's okay because you're not gonna see that. All you're gonna be seeing is the underside, so you wanna make sure that top layer, top side, is nice and good. But I'm gonna continue, finish this up, and we'll be back. Alrighty, we're done. We got it all finished. All these corners are tucked in. It's all glued down, and it's been drying for a little bit. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to do these, get these cutouts for these. So what you want to do for these like square rectangle kind of things is you cut like an X, so you can peel and fold, peel and fold, peel and fold. But make sure you don't cut all the way to the corner. So you want to cut like right here, so that you have like an extra little bit to fold over. And then for these, since they're not a square, you want to cut like a Y shape. You cut right here to the middle and then down, but make sure you don't go all the way to the corner because it'll leave spots where you can see it. You want to do that for all of these. Even these little rectangles, you cut small squares out all the way to the corners. So like here, 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 here. So you can cut those out. And the same concept kind of applies to the sunroof, but that one's a little bit more complicated because it's a bigger piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all these small pieces, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to do this big piece. So same also for these, you kind of want to cut like I think I'm probably just gonna do the X because it's not really a full circle. It's kind of like, but we'll see how to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these done, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, so I got this first one cut out. That's how it should look like. It's kind of like you fold the little flaps over, glue them down, and then let me show you guys what it looks like on the other side. So that's what it looks like on this side. Pretty good. Most of the, like if you make a small mistake, it'll be covered by like the handle that's there. So you don't have to worry too much about it. But, so yeah, that's how you do that. And I'll show you guys how to do this and those because they're a little bit different. Those are smaller. Those are more like squares. These are kind of rectangles. Those are ovals. That's more of a circle. And then for me, since I don't have this, if you don't have that and you want to know what it is, it's called the ultrasonic sensor. So just put in like search e46 ultrasonic sensor. It's for anti-theft. I don't have it, and they're pretty expensive, and I can't find them anywhere off eBay, and I don't like ordering on eBay. So I think I'm just gonna leave the cloth there. Maybe I'll put a piece of like cardboard here so I can stick it to it, and then just leave it like that. for now. So I'm just gonna leave that. If you actually have it, you just do the same. You cut like the thing and you fold the flaps over and you can stick the thing in, but I'm just gonna leave it like that. So that's gonna be like that, and we'll do these and we'll be back. So this is what I recommend doing instead of using like the full actual razor blade. Just take like a normal, like a razor blade by itself. So that way you can get it in here and slice. And slice from the back so you don't end up like cutting over into the front and you don't like how that looks. Because the back you can always, it's less likely, well, you're not gonna see the back at all. So I would cut from the back. All right, so here's how you cut these, just a triangle out. So from here to the middle, down, and then here. So that's how you cut those. Got those already all done. Got these done, looks really good. Alrighty guys, so I finished the sunroof. So what I found that works best for the sunroof is kind of like how I did here. So what you do is you cut out around and leave like some extra material, probably about like that much, so you can be able to fold it over. So you cut around like an outline basically, leaving some extra material on the sides as you cut, and you cut a slit here on all the corners basically, and so you can fold it over. And you do the exact same thing for the sunroof, just cut the outline out, leaving a little bit extra so you can fold it over, and then you slit the corners so that it doesn't like put stress on it and make it want to come off. So you just do that and then you fold it over and it'll turn out really nice. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this up, and I'm gonna actually leave that just covered because I don't have the sensor. So I'm gonna finish these two, we'll flip it over. Alrighty guys, so you can see my new car that's gonna be on this channel. Might as well introduce you guys to it. So this is my new 911 SC, which stands for Super Carrera. And it is a Targa top, so the top comes off. You got the top off, it's a manual. It's pretty cool. Right now I'm working on the window, which doesn't roll up, so I'm gonna get a new window motor and replace that. But back to the original video. So we got our cutouts. They look really good. Nice. See if I can get that. You can't see anything. It looks great all around. The suede sticking. It's in these corners, really nice. So it came out looking really good. I got that piece put back in, and I did these pieces already. So for this, you just have to, once it's done drying, you just cut out like the middle section so you can peel that piece out and get access to that stuff. I went ahead and wrapped those little trim pieces with some extra fabric that I had, and we got everything else all wrapped up. We got the third brake light wrapped, looks nice. I got my sunroof motor cover wrapped up, all nice. I just gotta cut those out. And then mine was kind of faded, so this is the sunroof. It goes around this to hold it like up. So I went ahead and plasti dipped it with the black plasti dip to like kind of bring back the blackness of it, so it kind of matches a little bit, because that's going to be a pain to wrap. If you do wrap it, you can, but it's going to be really hard, so I wouldn't recommend doing it. And we got our pieces wrapped. Now all we have left to do is the actual sunroof, these two like seatbelt cover pieces, and the two rear trim pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all those. You guys already know from those. These are just a little bit different because you gotta kind of mark it out. So as I was saying, these do have a little bit of a different process because you gotta watch like the here so that this can still move and stuff. So you don't want to glue it down. So you gotta watch out for that. But I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. And we're gonna get these pieces done and finished so we can let them dry and put them in the car and then get that tray out. So I was gonna do the tray at the same time, but it doesn't make any sense to do it because I'm just gonna have way more pieces, like trim pieces and stuff, and they're all gonna get mixed up and lost. So I'm just gonna do this stuff, put it back in, and then I'll show you guys how to take that tray out. But that's gonna be a separate video. So this video is just gonna be about this. We're gonna put it back in the car tomorrow. It should be all. Alrighty, so now we're gonna do these pillars, which have this seatbelt cover in them. So what you can do is, if you have a car like mine, this sits on these like racks right here. If you can see, it sits on like these rails right here. And there's a lip. So what you do is you gently lift this up a little bit and it'll slide over the lip. And you can slowly slide it out until that catches. And then you bend it outwards a little bit right here so that this doesn't catch. And then you can slide all the way out. And that becomes that piece. And that becomes that piece. And then you can wrap this. Try to get as much of this off as you can so that it doesn't like overlap and create a big, it's not that big of a deal. It's just gonna be a little bit harder to move, but will still move up and down fine. Alrighty, YouTube, we're back. Today is the last part of this video. Finally, I can get it done. But here's what it looks like in the car. I got all the pieces mounted up. Looks really nice. Got the, oh, that scared me for a second. But it looks all nice. Tuck that wire back there so you can't see it. It looks nice and good. Got my hooks in here. So now we're gonna take out this rear package tray. So you got to take out these seats. You just lift up and pull them straight out and they come out. You can see mine are all crusty down there. And then you got to take these pieces off. So you'll have a clip that goes in here. I don't have it. And then a side cover that you want to pop off. And this will just slide right out. Peel that piece out. Put those to the side. And then you want to fold your seats down. So when you're folding your seats down, that shouldn't come out. So don't do that like I did. All right, hold on. All right, you were back. I fixed that. So make sure you put something there so that it doesn't dig into the leather. You can see mine kind of is. So I'm just gonna fold this over itself again so that it doesn't do that. I'm gonna fold those down. Then we wanna take this piece out right here. All right, so once you pull this piece off, there should be clips holding it in. But mine, obviously, like everything else in this car, had no clips. So mine just slid right out. And then under the speaker tray, or under these like covers, tethers, there's 13 mils. So you're gonna grab a socket and take those off. Alrighty, so once you get the cover off of here, you're gonna wanna get the 3 8mm bolts that hold that speaker in. Same with this side. And look at how faded that is. So you're gonna wanna, alrighty, so next you wanna remove this, the Harman Kardon sub, if you have it. It's a couple 8s. There's one here, one on the side, and one on this side. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and drop that out. And then you take the rear seat belts out from under here with a T50, I think. Take that out, and then that package tray will slide out. Alrighty, so once you get those subs. Alrighty, so I know I skipped this couple steps, but you have to take the basket out. It's held in with those clips. You see there's one there and 2 here. Take that speaker basket out, and then you lift this up, and there'll be some retaining clips holding these headrests in, or they look like that. And then you gotta take this seatbelt cover thing off on both sides and do the same for this. Watch out for this crumbly foam. And then you can pull this. All right, we pulled it out. That's what it should look like. I need to run to the store, grab some spray adhesive so we can do it. But we'll be back. And I think I'm gonna do a headrest delete just because so I can see a little bit better outside the window. And those are pretty heavy, so weight reduction. So we had a slight mishap. We got this all wrapped. I'm gonna do a headrest delete and this middle seat tether delete, but we had a slight mishap. So these speakers, these Harman Kardons, are actually blown. But for my previous car, my 4Runner, I have these really nice Kenwoods that wire up perfect and they sound amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those installed and we're gonna get this thing rolling. Alrighty guys, we're completely done finally, except for the cleaning, but you guys don't need to see that. So this is it, it's all done. Deleted the headrests, so I got rid of those headrests, got rid of that center part, put the speakers in. That's what it looks like. Looks really nice and clean. That's a little bit lifted. Clip broke off of that one, but it's all right. So got the suede everywhere, headliner, got all my pieces in, everything fits perfect. And it looks great. So, that's it for this video, guys. Stay tuned for the next video. And consider subscribing if you want to see more E46 content like this. So, yeah.